is good enough. Let me just write something. Is this big enough?
Looks fine to me.
Okay, then thank you. So welcome everyone. Before we continue with the branches and the rebasing in particular, any questions that you would like to ask regarding the material up to now? Okay, then. I will take that as a note. So we'll continue with rebasing, and the rebasing is another way of merging commits into a different branch, and the advantage is that it keeps the history of the commit tree linear, and we'll see that via an example now. And I will not be going through the slides so much, but I thought that I'm going to use the terminal instead. I think it will be easier to see what rebasing actually does. And I will exemplify this for something like 10 minutes, and then we are going to do exercises on branches. So I will switch to my terminal, and you do not need to follow this. I mean, you do not need to type along. You can just watch for the moment. So I am in a directory somewhere on my computer, and I am going to go to my local repository that I have for this example, and that is exercise or example rebase. And what I have here is, well, a couple of files. So let's see if this is a Git repository or not. So it is, and I am on the master branch, and I will just do git graph, or one can do git log all to see this. So I have quite a few commits in this repository. I have two branches. The master one that the head is pointing to at this point, and I also have a branch which is called new function. So let's assume that, well, I'm actually happy with this new function that I have introduced. It's not something that I have on the master branch. It's just a function which has been introduced in the new function branch. So I want to incorporate these into the main line of work. So that is the master branch. So I could, of course, do this by merging master and new function. That's perfectly fine, and we have seen how to do that yesterday. But let's say that I do actually want to keep some linearity, because this is a rather, well, it's a function that I'm happy with. I don't need to change anything else, and I just want to keep the linearity of my project. So one way to do that is by using the rebase command instead of git merge. So how does one do that? I need to be on the branch that I want to incorporate into the master one. So what I need to do first of all is to check out to a new function. So I will do that, git checkout new function. And from here, I need to say that, okay, I want to rebase the commits that are on this branch, new function, onto another branch. And I am going to specify that I want to rebase on the master one. I could also specify to rebase on another commit, not the tip of the branch, but I do prefer to just keep the linearity. So I am going to base it on the tip of the master branch. So the way I do that is git rebase and then master. And what it tells me, okay, I have successfully rebased these commits, and then I have updated the new function. So let's do git graph again and see what the difference is. So what the rebase actually does to the commit tree. So up to now, these bottom 4 commits are exactly the same as I initially had on the master branch. So I have the initial 2 commits, and then I had some added files, and one may see that the hashes are exactly the same. So nothing has changed in the commit tree on the master branch. But what has happened to these additions that I had in the new function branch? So I have entirely 2 new hashes. So if you can compare to the ones before, they are completely new. So what Rebase has done, it has looked for a common ancestor for these 2 branches, master and new function, and that was this particular commit, looked for the differences that were introduced in new function with respect to this common ancestor, and then changed the base to the tip of the master branch, and then reapplied these 2 commits on top of the common ancestor. So I have 2 brand new commits that are on the branch new function. The difference is that it looks as if this new function branch has not diverged from this common ancestor, but it has diverged instead from the tip of the master branch. So what I can do now is just a merge of new function onto the master branch, and I will have a fast forward to these. I will have a fast forward of master to the tip of these to this commit. So I will do that. Git checkout to master and git merge this new function branch into master. And I will have fast forward, and that is because I have no new commits on the master branch. And let's see how that looks. Git graph. So now both master and new function point to the tip of they both head points to both the tip of the master and new function. So these 2 are in sync. And I am now on the Git branch. I am on the master branch. So I have successfully kept the linearity of, reintroduced the linearity of my project. If I were to merge these 2 branches, then I would not have had a linear structure. Now it's important to remember then when I use rebase, I lose the hashes of these 2 commits. So that they will not show anymore in my commit tree. And that should not be done. So rebase should not be done if you have shared your local repository. But it's great if you just do some small changes before you actually sync your local repository on the cloud somewhere. So, and again, I mean, the greatest advantage is that it gives a linear structure of the repository. So, anything that you would like to ask regarding rebase? Okay, then. Another way of introducing commits which have been done on a branch into a different branch is the cherry pick command. And I will show an example for that. So let's clear this a little bit. So what I have So I am on a in a Git repository on a so-called branch new function. So let's see how the commit tree looks like in this case. So it's fairly similar to what I had before. I have the master branch, and I am now I am on a branch new function. So let's assume that I am happy with this new function that I have introduced, and I would like to introduce it in the master branch. Let's also assume that actually I do not want to introduce all these free commits into the master branch. Maybe this improvement of the function is not working well. I have not really tested it, so I should wait a little bit with that. And that I would only like to introduce these two commits and keep the new function branch. So what I need to do now is to check out to the master branch. So this works different than rebase. One should be on the branch that one wants to introduce changes into with respect to the rebase example that we had before. So I check out to the master branch, and what I will do is I will cherry pick simply some of the commits that I would like to have from the new function branch. And it is important that you cherry pick from the oldest to the newest. And you don't have to pick all of them, but you may introduce some conflicts unless you know which are the differences introduced in different commits. But what I will do is I am going to cherry pick the two initial commits on the new function branch. So first I will take the one where I introduced the function, and I'm going to git cherry pick and the hash of the commit that I want to introduce into the master branch. So what I have now in graph is a new commit on the master branch, which added the modifications in this commit. Let's say that I'm also happy with the test that I had introduced for the function X, and I am going to cherry pick that hash as well. So git cherry pick, and then this hash here, and then git graph again. So what I have is then yet another commit with a new hash, which incorporates the modifications in this commit here. So the disadvantage of git cherry pick, or in some cases you can look at it as an advantage as well, is that it does keep the commits that I cherry picked from. This may clutter your repository, but it has its advantages in some cases, but especially if you envision that you are going to continue to work on this particular branch. So yeah, so these are two ways of doing implementing commits from one branch into another. And Andre has a question, please.
So it looks like cherry picking is basically moving commits. But why do they change hash then? So I assume that like whatever's in them should be identical.
Cherry picking is not moving commits, is copying commits from one branch to another. The hash changes because whichever modifications you had in the branch you're picking from will be introduced on top of the commits that you have, in this case, the master branch. So the working directory is going to be different. And also, because you have a new commit, the commit message is going to be dated differently. So that alone is going to change the hash. But
shouldn't there be some kind of identifier to say that like these two commits are identical, but
So,
I just copy them?
so they will not be identical. So let's do actually a git diff to compare the difference between the two commits. So let's compare this with the one where I had the edit function in the new function branch. And so I have actually quite a few differences. It's not so clear here, but let's see. So I'm going to do an ls. No, I will check out to this hash where I just after the cherry pick of the function nest into the master branch. And that's fine. I'm in detached tab mode, but I just want to see what I have. So I have a couple of files here, 1 to 4, and then I have this function X that I have cherry picked from the other branch. Now, if I git checkout to this hash here, I misspelled, sorry, checkout. Then what I had is actually, I did not have these two files, which were only on the master branch, but the function S is the same. So this is what I was missing. And I'm going to scroll back again. And the reason is because I had these two commits on the master branch before I decided, okay, I would also like to add the function nest that I had on the other branch. So then the changes which were introduced in this commit will be applied on top of this commit where master was pointing to before I did the cherry pick. Is this clearer now?
A little bit, thank you.
Okay, so there was a question 2 days back about Rebase Interactive. Are you still interested that I show that? Would any one of you like to see that? Okay, so let me quickly show that. So in this case, I have a fairly simple commit tree. And what I think is that, okay, let's say at some point that I think that, well, I have a couple of bugs in this repository. I also have some commit that I have no idea why this commit message is missing the name of the function, so I should change that. And also I have maybe 2 small changes that I would rather squash into previous commits. And one way of doing that is using again the rebase command, but now in this case, I do not rebase commits from another branch onto, well, another one, but I'm just going to shuffle around commits that are in this current branch. And I do that in an interactive mode using the -i option. And what I need to specify is a hash for a commit that I want to rebase onto. And I will pick the very first one. So git rebase -i. And what I am prompted with, just move this a bit so that you see better, sorry. What I am prompted with is an editor. So here, so you can see all. And in my case, it's a VI editor, but it may be different on your computer. And I am going to see the hashes of the commits from the oldest to the newest. And And what I can do is I can choose what do I want to change with the commits that I have performed previously. And pick stands for, well, leave the commit as it is. And I will choose pick for the second commit, so the oldest among the ones that I have listed here. And then as for the second one listed here, so I have something which is called introduced function. Well, in this case, I want to rename it and actually rename, the commit message. And the way I do that is by, now I need to check because I don't remember it by heart. So reward, yes, I'm going to choose the reward option. So I will use that commit, but I am going to change the commit message. And I will just use the first letter of these different commands as Git will recognize that. And then I see that, okay, this commit has a bug in it. So what I want to do is actually to delete that altogether. And that I do together with the option drop. So D, I will just use the first letter. This is a good commit. Okay, I'm going to keep this. And then I see that I also have a commit which has a very small change. So what I could do is I can squash the differences of this commit into the one before. And the way I do that is using the option squash. So what squash will do is we'll simply meld these two commits together. So once I am happy with the choices for my interactive rebase, I save this, and then what it will go through. So Git is going to go through this text line by line, and if you remember, the first one I chose was just pick, so it was all good. In the second one, I said that I want to edit the commit message, and so that's why I'm prompted with this new editor window, and I am going to change the commit message of this commit. So I said that I have introduced function, but I did not really say which function I'm talking about. So let's, I don't know, say that I have some new function and the name of the function that that I introduced. I can also edit more into this file. Let's say that I want to explain what this function is all about. This function does something. So have something which is a short summary in the first line, have a blank line, and then you can explain more what the commit is all about. And then this is the combined commit, where I squashed the commit on top of another one. Again, I'm prompted with some commit message, and I will just save this as it is. So let's see how the commit tree looks like now compared to before. So I dropped this this commit where I had a bug, and I melded these two commits into a new one which has a different hash, and that is because the working directory is different. Also, this hash is new, and that is because the commit message is different. So then the hash is going to change as well. So that's about it regarding rebasing. And what we are going to do in the following is exercises. So let's just scroll to the bottom of this document. So you find the exercise in the same location as before, in a folder called 5 branches. And first there'll be some exercises on merging, and then 2 exercises on rebasing. And we'll do that for half an hour. And before we do that, any questions? If not, then I'm going to show again where you find these exercises. So the course intro Git directory, Git materials, and then 5 branches. So there will be 5 exercises that you can go through.